Yes, hello. Good afternoon. It is 12 o'clock here in New York. Sorry I couldn't be with you today as I was at a business meeting in New York, so it's a bit hard to get there. So I've brought you here today is because I have a proposal to the potential design technology teacher from the Pickard High that has given me the design brief. So the head teacher also wants me to join the two nations of family and community and landscape. So from this, I've taken this understanding of what is being asked for the head teacher, and I've scrambled it and mumbled it around to get my own belief of what is being asked. So I believe that what is being asked is how can we create a real life learning experience for the students, and how can this project offer some sort of intrinsic motivator whilst connecting the school to the community in a meaningful way. So in other words, landscaping their learning in a meaningful and real life way. So I've come up with the proposal of the Life Learning Centre, where I'll present myself in front of the principal with the pitch of this building, as this building will be a centre point for students and community members to meet, and an area where life skills can be taught by these members. If the principal is on board, I propose a solution of how this will be economically viable, and this being that the students in Year 10 to Year 12 design technology classes are going to be the centre point and the designers for this Life Learning Centre building. This will be done through an intensive 10-week program unit of work, which you'll see attached. This will teach the design process, and it will in the end produce a model of the building. This being said, community members from all trades can be called in for more technical support, though the students are doing the fundamental designing of the building. So the design brief states that our school, Pickard High, has been in contact with the local council and has talked to many community members around this area and has produced a problem that needs to be solved. So a building or an area of ground needs to be created to help teach students the more outside of school skills, such as life skills, to fixing various household and designing, to learning how to pay bills, talking to clients, produce resumes, etc., etc. This area can also be used as a meeting area with different community members. The only thing is, the school cannot afford designers, cannot afford engineers, and definitely cannot afford architects. So they've come to me, Mr. Potts, to see if I have any talented Year 10 to 12 design technology classes. I'm putting this to all of my students with the design solution, that they must create a solution. They must use communicative aids such as technical drawings, CAD, or model making, and they must present these findings to the class and myself and the principal. From here, selection process will take place by me and the principal, and it sort of gives the students a real life learning experience of what it is like to be a designer or an architect in the industry. So it is a great tool. So I propose that in week 1, that's when you visit the design brief and the brainstorming activities. So you begin research into ideas and you investigate how designers work and how architects work. We'll follow on then next week to complete research into design processes, ideas, and begin sketches and technical drawings. In the third week, sketches will be continued and finalised, and so some students will begin working on CAD programs, and different worksheet, different YouTube activities and references will be used. From here, the design solutions are going to be confined. The students have to show their solutions so far. So far their sketches, CAD drawings, their brainstorming ideas, and their research. They have to show this to myself with pictures and explanations and drawings on how. From here, we'll move on to safe work practices, so this is very important in the workshop for all students. From weeks 5 to week 8, that's when the students are going to be working on their models intensively for the whole 4 weeks. And eventually, hopefully in week 8, students will begin finalising their models. In week 9, that's when we'll start going through how to present themselves in front of a client, in this case me, myself, and the principal. So the students will learn how to finalise their folio, confine it to make it the best communicative aid. They'll be using PowerPoints, documents, photos, imagery, videos, etc., etc. So throughout the program, there's different resources and teaching strategies that I've written down, and hopefully you'll be able to look at that right now. So there's different aids. So for example, this is week 1 I'm looking at, so there's going to be group work, collaborations, videos and brainstorming activities, as well as different areas of YouTube videos where they can look at what goes on in the architecture area. As more teaching strategies and resources used, so there's drawing demonstrations by myself and by other students, more collaborative tasks, and the folio is begun. And it moves on to more ICT developments and using of CAD, and there's countless resources in there such as YouTube, the documents I use to help teach, drawing boards, pens, paper, rubber, so it's all on there in the document. and so on. So I've used an array, and I would encourage you to have a look in your own time at this program, because it is very extensive and very long, but it's kind of a tool we can use throughout a whole 10-week term. I've done 3 different stages of the model making, where I've gone through the floor plan, so showing the students different areas of the floor plan, so doors, drawings of windows, baths, etc. And then I move on to the skeleton of it, so the timber framing for the building, and it shows different areas of the room, so it's basically the physical part of the rooms. So over here we firstly have the floor plan, where we've gone through each part of the room and basically used the walls drawing and windows, doors to show the students each area. So move through the house to a miscellaneous area where anything really goes on here, so they can learn different skills, whether it's, tying their shoes to speaking properly, whatever, you name it. From here they'll walk through to the hall or the exercise area where the students will carry out various tasks, whether it's stretching. Your first part of my model, the floor plan. Secondly, this is my proposal of the skeleton of the design. So this is basically showing timber framing, and it's showing different wall components, windows, stairs, etc. So, and this design will go straight on top of the floor plan to show how it works. So this sits right on top perfectly with the wall. Basically, this is used to show how the drawings work in line with the actual timber framing. So if you go up through the stairs here, this will take you into the hall in the exercise area, and will show the symbolism of the door drawing. So the final part of this is the third component, and that is putting a roof on your house. The cool kind of mock of the roof, and it is aesthetic of the roof with the model. And it resembles over here the carport, where community members can drive in and just drive their car straight in and to park it. And that's the carport. So this is my physical proposal of my design. Basically, it's not incredibly flash, I believe, but it's built in a way to show the students how to do each stage of their proposal, of their design, and the best way to communicate to the client, because that, in hindsight, is how architects and designers work. So finally, so I hope you've enjoyed my design proposal, and I hope the head teacher considers me highly for this job, as I'll be very looking forward to when I get back from New York. This brings me to the final part of my presentation, where I'm talking about my actual understanding of the design development. So when thinking about this, I came up with the quote, which I quoted myself, is that I think the brain acts like a design process. Every day we pick up and choose different things from it. We chop it, we change it, and we suit it to whatever we are doing at the time. The best part of the brain is it reflects on every process and every experience. So next time we know exactly how to respond to that problem. So that's how I believe kind of the design process works. I hope you have a look at my document, because it goes through in a bit more detail about what I meant in that. But that's pretty much the backbone of what I believe the design process is. When I consider an assignment 1, where I focused on the initial stages of the design process, so I believe I used ideation, thinking of ideas, the concept, focusing my thoughts, and the possibilities. So theoretical In assignment 2, or more towards the brief and brainstorming to quantitative and qualitative research, and then basically testing, making the model. So from here, I also believe it went to improving, so I had to do some changes to the model to make it work, and then define the solution, so finding the best way how I will present it, and finally delivering, which is what I'm doing right now. My final idea of the design process and design development when talking about stages is, I believe it's not just a process, it's not just stages, it's kind of like a cycle. So I believe it's more defining the solution or the problem, and then you want to collect information. This is where you start using your data. From here, I believe that's where you analyze and you brainstorm that data to develop, in the next stage, your ideas. From developing your ideas, you must test your ideas to see if they work, and then from here you must refine your ideas. Once you've come up with improved ideas, you will then offer a delivery of the solution, and this delivery consists of communication to the client or whoever is involved in the design process. I believe that the last stage and the first stage are inextricably linked, as communication to the client or the design brief or wherever the problem is coming from must happen from the beginning, and it must revisit at the end. Otherwise the design process will kind of go unscrambled and chop and change. So basically that is my presentation today. Thank you for your time in viewing, and I hope you really thoroughly consider me for this teaching position, as I believe I'll be the best possible